Hello. Hello, hello. Welcome to Crafty Chemist Designs. How is everybody today? I'm doing great. Glad to see you here. Let me know what you're doing today on this Sunday. It was relatively nice here. Still need a jacket, but it wasn't freezing cold. I'm going to share this to the group real quick. Okay, that should be good. Get a couple people on here. Okay, I shared it to the live. Let me start the Instagram. Okay, there we are. Let me know when you're on. Say hello so I know you're here. If you are watching the replay, say hashtag replay so I know you watched. Hey, Mom, watching from afar. Thanks for being on. I hope you're having a good time. Hi, Katie. How are you? Today we are going to be making these Mother's Day cards, but they could also be birthday cards. And I'm going to teach you a new technique, maybe a new technique to you. Um, and it is watercoloring with your ink pads. So I watercolored with my ink pads to color in these flowers. I thought that it was a really good look for these flowers, sort of in particular, the style of the flowers. So before I get into this, there's a couple announcements. First is don't forget to check out the last chance sale. Everything there is while supplies last. Almost everything in the current catalog that's going to end at the end of April is on that last chance list. Not every single thing, but I would say at least 90% of the products are on the last chance list. They did not carry over a huge amount of things from the last catalog, except, of course, things like the paper trimmer, um, the markers, stamp cut and emboss machine, the tools, those are pretty much the same. But like all of the stamp sets and the paper suites, the only one that I can think of off the top of my head that is returning is the perennial lavender. And that must be a really popular one because it returned this year from the previous year. So it's at least 3 years running, and that's only as long as I've been with Stampin' Up, so I don't know before that, it could be even longer. Okay, so check out the last chance items. If there was something on your list from the catalog that you wanted, you should go and snap them up now because they may go away. As soon as they sell out, they're not coming back. The second announcement is that starting April 15th, so on Tuesday, Stamping Up is um, going away from the host code party kind of uh, rewards program and are moving to a sort of a VIP rewards customer program. So when you make your first purchase after April 15th, you will be prompted whether or not you want to opt in to the rewards program. It is free, it doesn't cost you anything, so you might as well opt in. And so every time you place an order that's at least $20, I think is the limit, um, you will earn rewards on them. And you can accumulate the rewards to buy something big, or you can use them every time that you want. Um, it's up to you. Okay, so get ready for the new rewards program. I think it is going to be really popular. It was really, really popular and close to my heart. I know a lot of people loved the um the VIP program. And that was they were paying, I think, $35 a month to be a VIP customer. I'm not a month, $35 a year to be a VIP customer to be in this rewards program, and people still loved it. This one is free and you get the reward. So I think it's going to be really, really popular. And let me think of anything else, any announcements besides that. I am having an in-home a girls' night out party, a kit together where you pick a card kit of, you can pick whatever you want. I'll purchase it for you, and we're going to get together and create those. And the date is, oh geez, I want to say May 6th, and it's in my new craft studio. So I'm really excited about that. I actually have to get everything set up since it's all finished now. I'm still in my old uh, room. Uh, and so I'm moving to a much bigger space, probably 4 times the space that I have now. So I'm really excited about that. I have room to have classes and such. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, so if you're local to the Chicagoland area, I invite you to um, you know, tell me what kit you want and come on over and create with us. It's going to be a fun night. We're going to have wine and some snacks while we create our kit together. And if you don't live in the Chicagoland area and want to participate, you can get a kit and you can put it together at home uh, with us. Um, so kind of in spirit, that would be great too. Okay, so I think that was it for the announcement. Oh, also, my new YouTube video just dropped at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock today. It's part of a YouTube hop. I will drop the link here for you. This is called Magic Color Slider Cards, and it's a really fun technique. It's like magic. It's really cool. So check that out. I was trying to see if I had it here, but I don't know what I did with the samples. Um, oh, here it is. Here's one. Okay, so you pull it and the color appears. Isn't that cool? So it's black and white, and then when you pull this up, the colored image appears on the image below. So check that out. Hi, Creating with Crimson. Welcome. Okay, so these are what we're going to work on. Watercoloring on these images. And I am using the Year of Flowers stamp set. And it's a really beautiful set. This was the first thing I put in my cart when the new online exclusives dropped, because I knew that I was going to use this a lot. This is great for birthdays, right? So most people, I think, would think of a birthday, um, but it could be used for a friendship. I couldn't have picked a better friend, and then you put their um, birth flower, and you could put your birth flower and their birth flower. That would be kind of cute. Um, but today I'm going to make it a Mother's Day card, and you'll see how I did that here. Okay, and as I said, the technique today is watercoloring with your ink pads. So it's a really easy technique. So why don't we get started just making one of these, because I wanted to maybe do two. So we'll see if we have enough time for that. So I'm going to make the card base, and I'm taking a piece of basic white cardstock. And before I do that, let me drop a link to all of the products that I used. Okay, there we go. Now that's all of the products that I use. That should be easier for you, so I don't have to worry about giving you the item numbers. Okay, so to make a card base, I'm just taking the basic white and I'm cutting it at 5.5 along the 11-inch side. And so now I have two card bases. So maybe we'll make two cards. Okay. I'm just going to fold this in half. You could score it and then fold it. I'm going to fold it and use my bone folder to smooth it down. Okay. And another thing that I used on this card that's new is this corrugated embossing folder, and I love this. This was one of the first things. It was right after I did the flowers that I bought this corrugated um, embossing folder, because it's so versatile. You can use it on so many cards, and I thought that this card needed a little something, and this was perfect. Okay, so this piece of corrugated paper that I used was 5 1/8. Looks like 5 1/8 wide and 3 tall. So I'm using pecan pie. Let's see, that's too small. I'll use this. That's good. Okay, so let's cut this at 3 inches and then 5 1/8 wide. And I don't know if I mentioned, this paper is pecan pie. I really love this color. It's a nice kind of warm color. Okay, now let's get out my embossing folder. Or there, yeah, the embossing folder, which is here. It's called Mini Corrugated 3D Embossing Folder. So it is a 3D embossing folder, and it looks like this. Let me get out my stamp cut and emboss machine. And this is a 3D embossing folder. So let's look at what the sandwich should be for a 3D embossing folder. So for using with 3D embossing folders, you want base 1, which is this, the embossing folder, and then plate 4, which I have right here. Okay, that's the sandwich for um, using a 3D embossing folder. It may be different if you have a different embossing machine. Okay. Now, sometimes with 3D embossing folders, people recommend that you spritz the paper with water first. So I have my little water spritzer here, and I'm just going to lightly spritz it. It's not required, but it does help the fibers kind of accept the embossing. I don't know how else to say that. Although I will tell you on this one, I did not spritz it. So you can see it's perfectly fine. So you don't have to. I will say that if your um, paper is white core, you might want to emboss or spritz it. And if your paper is pretty thick, you might want to spritz it before you emboss it. Okay. And then for this one in particular, look at how the lines go. Okay. So if I put this paper in this way, the lines are going to be going across like this, across the length of the paper. On this card, I had the lines going up and down, which is how I want it. So what I'm going to do is lay it this direction. Okay. So now the lines are going to go up and down. Okay. And on this one, since there are lines, you want to kind of line it up so it's even. Okay. Um, I'm putting it with the Stampin' Up emblem up. So I'm going to put this like this. Put my number 4 plate on top. And then run it through. And let's see if that embossed it. That was really too easy. I think I say that every time that I'm shocked at how smoothly it goes through. Yeah, so there you go. So this is nice and deeply embossed, and it literally looks like a piece of corrugated paper. It's very nice. Okay. So I recommend this. This is a nice versatile um, embossing folder. Gives a little something extra to your card without really taking away from the design. Okay, so we did that. So let's get my card base, and I'm going to just glue this onto the card base. And I am going to use liquid glue. I find with the corrugated, using like adhesive, it can get it can get lost in sort of the nooks and crannies. So I like glue with this. But you can use what you want. But with the glue, it can get inside the little, these little nooks here. Okay, you don't need a lot. I just was trying to show you how it can be. And this one, I left space at the bottom to stamp. So I have an even sort of, I don't know, quarter of an inch all the way around. Okay. Okay. Now let's get to these. Now, this is what I did on this one. So, like I said, this is for a Mother's Day card. It says, hoping your day blooms with happiness. And then I put Happy Mother's Day. And I made this for my daughter. And I put her birth flowers, November. No, not November. January. Her birth flower is January. Her son's is March. Her husband's is July, and her daughter's is November. So I chose those particular flowers to represent their little family. So isn't that really cute? If you have three kids or um, two kids, you could do whatever you want. You could have just put two on here. I put four. Now these are very vanilla. These rectangles here, and those are 1 1/4 by 2 1/4. Okay, so I'm going to cut four of these. Okay, so let's cut this at 1 1/4. Let's see if I can get two out of this. 2 1/4 and 2 1/4. The other card that I might make if we have time, and I think we will, I'm going to just do it with one flower. So you can make it as a birthday card. Okay, so here's two. We need another two. So 1 1/4 by 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. Okay. We got all the papers that we need for right now for this card. And again, this was very vanilla cardstock. You could use white, the basic white if you wanted, but I thought it gave a little bit extra um, design, to it. Let me put this away. Okay, so let me show you oh shoot, I put this card, I put this on upside down. Oh well. Well, we'll have it work this way. Maybe we'll put the sentiment on top. Okay, so Year of the Flowers, it's got a flower for every month. And I googled what these flowers were. Let me check on Instagram real quick. Okay, so I wasn't sure what some of them were. I knew the ones about my family, but some of them I didn't know. So there are a lot of different images like this, right, that shows you all of the birth flowers. So I think January here is the carnation. February is the iris. March is the daffodil. April is the daisy. May is the lily of the valley. June is a rose. July is larkspur. August is gladiolas. September is morning glory. October is the marigold. November is, I think this is the chrysanthemum. And then December is the poinsettia. Okay, so that's the ones that I think these are. Okay. So I use this as sort of a guide for coloring in my images. Um, so this time, since I already made a card for my daughter, I thought I'd make one for my mom because she has 4 kids. And so I could make one of all of our birth months. Okay. So both of my brothers are in May. So we're gonna have to do 2 Mays. And this set is a cling set. Okay, which means it's the red rubber, which is nice because it really helps you get this really detailed image. So let's look for May. I don't know if I already have it popped out. I think this one's May. Yeah, this one's May here. May was the lily of the valley. So I'm going to show you how to put the sticker on. Because you see they come like this, but as I've been using them, I have been taking these off and putting the label on them. Okay, so let's do, let me move these a little bit. Let's do May. So I need my stamp block. And then I need to find the May. So here's the May sticker. So I'm going to take this off the sheet, the whole thing. Okay. And then I look at how this is going to be. So I want it to be, I'm going to put it up and down like this on my block. So set it down with the sticky side up. And then I'm going to put my block down. And then there's another backing, and I'm going to take that off. There you go. And now I'm going to, this has also got a sticky thing on. And you can, some people keep these. I'm not. So make sure that your stamp is going the right direction. So it is. It's going the same direction as this, and I'm just going to stick it down right on here. There you go. And so when you take this off, the label will be right on there. It's really easy to put these stickers on. But I want to use this, so I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to put it on my block like this. And I'm going to stamp this on 2 of the rectangles because both my brothers were born in May. Since we're going to be doing watercolors on these, you want to use an ink like the Memento Tuxedo Black that we do sell. Because it is sort of water resistant. It's not going to smear when you use the watercolors. Okay, then I'm going to stamp this right in the center of this square. I made the size of these squares to perfectly fit all of these the flowers. Okay, that's why. So again, they were 1 1/4 by 2 1/4. Okay, May, another May. So these are really special, personalized cards for, your mother. Or again, it can be a birthday card. So let's wipe this off. Okay. And then my sister's birthday is July. I've already used July, so let's find it on here. I think this one's July. Yeah, July. Okay. I haven't been able to see any comments, so okay, so let's do the July. Ink this up. Perfect. And then my birthday is in October. So I think I did, yeah, I tested it out on mine, so October. So this is for my two brothers, my sister, and myself. There we go. So nice. Let's clean this off. Okay, put it back on here. There are more, but I've been doing them as I go along with for this. Okay, so now let's color these. Okay, and I know that that's what you've been waiting for, so learn how to color these. Okay, so let's start with October, which is mine, this marigold, and it's a little bit orange. I'm using this as my guide, so a little bit orange. And so this is the part that I wanted to show you. So I'm going to use my ink pad, and mostly I have these Stampin' spots from the paper pumpkin. So I'm going to use the orange for October. And all you need to do is kind of, I don't know if you can see, kind of stamp on a block. Stamp on your stamp block. Get some ink on there. You can also do it in the top of your lid, but that gets messy. It's harder to clean out or whatever, so I just do it on this block. Let me see if I'll put some white paper under here so you can see it. And then you can use our water brush, just like you're watercoloring with our colored pencils. Or you can use a paintbrush if you don't have one of these water brushes. You'll just have to dip it into water to do this. So add a little bit of water to the ink on your block. And then I'm just going to color this in. You don't want to use a lot of water for a couple reasons. One is um, it can spread out farther than your image, which you don't really want, or you can if you're going for that kind of look for your watercolor. But two, this isn't watercolor paper that we're putting it on, so you don't want it to get all wavy. And I'm not even really squeezing on this. I squeeze a little bit onto the block, but once I'm using it to paint, I'm just using it like a paintbrush. Okay? Okay. So then you can clean this off. I'm going to just use my tidy towel here. Um, and I do have like some Kleenex or something here. I'm going to squeeze out the water until I feel like it's not on my brush anymore. Okay. Okay, so let's do the July. So the July flower, the larkspur, is kind of this bluish purple. Um, tried Blackberry Bliss at first, and it was really, really dark. Um, we can try this Petunia Pop. It won't be quite that bluish purpley. See, it's more kind of pink, but that's okay. That's what I have. Let's ink this up. Okay. And then see how easy it is? And it's a lot easier to watercolor like this than with your watercolor pencils. I mean, it gives a little bit different look, but if you really don't like to color in your images with markers or the watercolor pencils, this goes so fast. It colors the images so fast. And it's really, really easy. If you have the bigger ink pads, I will show you. I've got one bigger ink pad that we'll use. Let me see up close if that's a flower. I think that's a flower. Again, you are not using a lot of water because we want to be able to control it, and we don't want this to get very wet. Okay, so let's clean this off. And then I've got my little paper that I can squeeze it until I feel like the pink's all gone. Okay. Um, Now here's one that we got to think about. Um, the lilies are white. So I don't know. I I feel like making these maybe a really light blue. Let's see Misty Moonlight. And what I'm going to do is hardly pick up any color. Put a lot of water and not that much color because we want it to be just a little bit blue, but not like blue, you know? So let's see how this is. Okay, I think this is good. Because white is really hard to do. So I don't know, I think this is a good alternative. And like I said, just Google some images to help you think about what color each of these flowers are. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit of blue, but it's very, very light. Let's do the next one, since I have two May birthdays. Okay, just kind of coloring these in, and you know, I'm barely touching these with the water. And I'm definitely not squeezing on here as I'm watercoloring. When I watercolor with my watercolor pencils, you know, you color in with the pencils and then you go over it with the brush. And as you're going over the pencils with the brush, you squeeze a little bit. Here, I just squeezed a blob onto the block and then pick it up with the bristles of your water brush and go and color on that without squeezing while you're coloring. Okay, now the last color that we need is green for the leaves. So I thought I'd wait to do all of those at the same time. Okay, here's my little napkin. So I'm gonna Okay, this has got hardly any blue. Okay, so here's where I want to show you how you can do it if you had the big pads. So I have the big Mossy Meadow Classic stamp pad. Okay, and so what you can do is if you squeeze it and get a little bit of ink on the top like this, then you can do the same thing. Or if you want, you can do it just like the mini stamp pads and stamp on your block and do that. Either way, but here, if you get a little bit on the top, it's fine just kind of using this as a palette, so to speak. Okay. So let's start here. And do the green, the leaves. And I'm going to try and go down the center here and the little stem too. There we go. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. So pretty. I love to watercolor. Okay. Let's do the July. And if you want, you could do different colors of green if you've got multiple greens with the different flowers because, not all the greens are the same. But I'm just going to use the same green for all of them. Okay, and then one more. And if you do this right and do it real light, not a lot of water, your paper is not going to buckle or curl or anything like that. I'm just getting enough color to, add some color to the stamped image. There we go. Okay, now this one sits on the inside of my stamp pad. I mean, I don't want that to be there a lot, so I'm going to take paper towel or something. Or, some people take advantage of that and and take a piece of paper or something and smear it on there so that they don't waste that. But I'm just going to wipe it up with um my little paper towel. Okay, now all we have to do is put these on our base. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so let's adhere this. And I just kind of place these kind of where I liked them at first. I overlapped and I made them different heights, and angles a little bit different. Something like that. Okay, so let's put these down. Again, I'm going to use my glue so that it will stay on the corrugated piece pretty well. There we go. Put that first one down and then just go from there. Gonna make this one go down a little bit lower. I could have done this in birth order. Well, you know what? I'm going to do that. That way the Mays aren't together. So let's do the May, July, because my oldest brother was born in May. My sister was born in July. So now I'll put that right here. Okay. And then me, who's the October baby. Or you could put them as I had them earlier, like in terms of how they fall in the year. That's why I had two Mays, a July, and then October. But I think it makes more sense to do it like this, where it's kind of age order. So my older brother, my sister, me, and now my younger brother. Add a little bit more glue here. And you can really tell that these are not, ooh, this one's a little bit, kind of make room here. Are, lost my train of thought there. Oh, they're not wet from the watercolor. I was able to put glue on, no problem with that. Okay, so now once you have your months done, colored in, wasn't it fun to color with our ink pads? Now let's just stamp the sentiment there. And you know what I think I might do? On this one, I put Happy Mother's Day on the inside and hoping your day blooms with happiness. I might make it the opposite way now. And this stamp set is called She's the Greatest. Hi, Jeannie. Thanks for joining. So I love this stamp set. It's a great one for Mother's Day. And it's got everything on it. It's got aunt, bonus mama, step mama, step nana, great mama, great, is there grandma, great grandma. It's got dog mom, cat mom, plant mom, you're the best, for the coolest mom, so many things. Aunt, human, in-law, daughter-in-law, um, so many great sentiments that you can do. There's also a corresponding one for Father's Day too. I think it's called He's the Greatest. So let's these ones are photopolymer stamps. So I wanted to show you the difference between these stamps and the cling stamps that we just used. So Stampin' Up does sell both kind. Now, not every stamp set comes in every kind. It's generally they decide like this stamp set's going to be photopolymer, but they made the Year of the Flowers with the cling. And usually they use the cling either for background stamps or for stamps that are more detailed, which these little flowers are very detailed. Okay. So let's stamp out Happy Mother's Day. Here's Mother's. I'm going to use my mat to kind of center these. Mother's Day. And then where's happy? Happy. Okay. And I am going to make this in Memento. And we can practice stamp this to see if we like the placement, since these were 3 different stamps. We want it to be even. That's not too bad. I feel like the happy could come down a little bit. And then the day, I'm gonna bring the D up a little bit. There. Okay, now let's test it again. Whoops. Okay, that's not too bad. Since it's gonna go on the front, I kind of want to make sure that it's, you know, decent. Okay, now let's stamp this down. And then I'm going to try and center this. There we go. So doesn't that look pretty? Okay, let's clean this off. And then you could stamp whatever you want on the inside. I'll probably do the hoping your day blooms with happiness. Okay, so I love this set. Again, I bought this in my first order of the new online exclusives. I think that was released in what, March? Okay, so there you have it. I want to do another quick one for you to show you if you don't want to do, like if you don't have 4 ones that you want to do, you could do it 1 for a birthday card. So this will be really fast and easy, since I don't have to really talk much through it. We're going to repeat. So if you happen to miss the first time when I did the corrugated cardboard here in the back. Okay, so I'm going to use the same size for this, which was 3 by 5 and 1/8, I believe. So let's do 3 by 5 and 1/8. And this is pecan pie. Okay. Let's get the embossing machine out. And the corrugated embossing folder is a 3D embossing folder. So the sandwich on your machine for the 3D embossing folder is plate number 1, and it tells you right on here, using with 3D embossing folders, plate number 1, and then your embossing folder and paper, and then plate number 4. Okay, so this is what I'm going to emboss. And with 3D embossing, I like to spritz it with just a little bit of water. It makes the fibers take that 3D embossing better and not crack. I do this especially if I have white core paper. This is not white core, this is solid core, but okay, so on this one, since my card was going landscape, I had the embossing stripes kind of going up and down. I think on this one, since I'm going to put the card in a portrait, I think I'm going to um, put them so the embossing, the lines are going up and down. Okay, so let's put that there. And this is so easy to do a 3D embossing folder. On my Big Pick, doing 3D embossing folders is really hard, and I feel like I'm pushing it through like I'm gonna break my machine. So you don't feel that way with this setup. Okay. Okay, so we're done with this. And look how nicely it took it. It literally looks like a piece of corrugated cardboard. Okay, I'm going to glue this down on my card. So my card's going to be portrait, opening up this way. So let's put some glue down. And I do like to use glue with this corrugated because it gets in the little grooves. I feel like the adhesive just stays on top of the, the convex part, not the concave part of your embossing. Okay, and then I'm just going to put it to the side here. Okay, and then while that dries, what I'm going to do is, here we had the 4 on these squares that are 1 1/4 by 2 1/4. What I thought is you could do a circle or something here. I happen to have this hexagon punch, so this is what I'm going to use. And I'm going to use the very vanilla, or you could do something like this. I have some very vanilla ovals, you could do something like that. But I'm going to use this hexagon punch, and I'm just going to punch out one of these. Mm. And then on here is where I'm going to stamp my flower. And I think I'm going to have it go this way because it feels like it looks better than here. I could have maybe made this one a little bit smaller, but let's stamp on this. And if you're making a birthday card, you can just pick the birthday month for that recipient. So let's do a July one. This is July. Okay, so we're going to do July. And I was thinking about we could put a sentiment or something there too. Although now I'm feeling like maybe we should do it like this because it fits better, the shape of this flower. Okay. I might put another piece of paper behind this before I put this down. I just decided at the last minute to do a one flower card so that you could see what this would be like for birthdays instead of Mother's Day like I did the other cards. Okay. Let's clean this off. And then I made the July petunia pop. So let's put this back. Got my petunia pop. grab my white paper so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to put the ink right onto the block and then use my water brush to put some water on there. And then we're just going to watercolor in these flowers. That first blob was a little bit heavy, so I want to be careful you don't have too much water. Okay. Get the flowers. I love this color, and it's not a color that I like wear very often or that I gravitate to, but with stamping and that, I've used this color so much. Okay, let's wipe this off. Make sure you don't have any pink on your brush. See, I still got some pink on here, so let's squeeze some water through it till it disappears. And now we want the green. So I'm going to use the Mossy Meadow again. This time I'm going to just stamp some right onto the block. And color in the leaves. So if you don't have watercolor brushes or markers, you can easily use your inks. See, normally you wouldn't be able to use your inks on these kinds of stamps because they're open, um, open design stamps, right? They're line stamps. So if you ink this in a color, you would only have color on the outline. So this way you can use your inks to color the inside parts. Okay, let's wipe this off. And I think that I'm going to put a piece of Petunia Pop behind this. I've got to go grab a piece of that because I wasn't planning on it, but this is a little bit too plain for me. Yes, it is. This is what I sent with the new color samples. Did you get your envelope? Um, yeah, because it was really fast. I sent them to everybody, so this was a fast way to um, punch them. I didn't have to crank circles through the machine. Okay, here's some Petunia Pop, and so let's cut this at about, let's say 2.5. And then let's see, let's try by 4. And this is because I just wanted to show you a sample that used um, one flower, whereas this one, I used 4 on these ones. So That way you can see how it could be used for a birthday instead of Mother's Day. But I thought since Mother's Day was coming up, it would be a good time to show you these Mother's Day stamps. The this one. And then this one I think I'm going to maybe pop up. And I'll put some embellishments on here. But the flowers were the Year of Flowers stamp set. And again, these ones are cling. And the She's the Greatest, that's got all of the mother and aunts and grandma and everything. Dog mom, cat mom. I love this part too. Is She's the Greatest. Okay, here's some dimensionals. Oh, I just happened to grab the small set, so that's why I'm using so many. Although you know me, I use a lot regardless, so you might not believe I'm using so many because it's the these are the small ones. Okay. If you want, sometimes people go around this with a marker. Okay, and let's find some gems or something to put on there. Okay, these ones are earth tones. So I might use these kind of off-white ones. Again, we're just trying to add a little bit of pizzazz to it. You could also probably add a bow, ribbon or something like that. There we go. Again, I just wanted to show you what these could be like if you just wanted to do a quick birthday. Okay, so we learned a new technique, watercoloring with our ink pads. Easy way to color in your open line stamps. And then I showed you this corrugated embossing folder and gave you the hint to spritz your paper lightly if you're doing the 3D embossing. It prevents these from developing cracks, which is especially important if you have white core paper, which this is not, but if you did and it had a crack, you'd be able to see the white, core. And then I showed you these new stamp sets, You're a Flower and She's the Greatest. Making my Mother's Day card. Now I've got my Mother's Day cards all done. And I've got a birthday card done. Let me know if you have any questions. I might stamp the happy birthday on the inside because, oh, I don't have it. Do I have it off here? Oh, it might have been one of the first ones yeah, I took off the happy birthday already. So while I'm seeing if you have any questions. I will stamp the happy birthday. That way it's done. There we go. That's a nice font, I think, for these. Love it. I think I'm doing a vendor show in May, and I think I'm going to make tags using this stamp set and let people pick what month they want to make a tag. Um, punch out one of these, punch out some patterned paper, and then string ribbon through it to make a little tag for my make and take. It'd be kind of easy. Okay, remember the announcements. One, my new YouTube video dropped about making the magic color slider cards. That dropped today at 2 o'clock. Part of YouTube Hop. So check out the other videos. I haven't had a chance to watch them yet because I was busy today. So check that out. Don't forget the last chance items. They're first come, first serve. When they sell out, they sell out. Some of the last chance stuff is on sale. Some is just last chance. Pretty much everything in the annual catalog is on sale. There's just a few things that are carrying over, except for the tools and that kind of stuff. The basic stuff is carrying over. And the new catalog goes live the first Tuesday in May. Is that the second? The second or the fourth? Maybe the fourth. The new catalog is going live. And then we are starting our new sort of VIP customer rewards program on April 15th. So that is so exciting. I know everybody loved the VIP program with Close to My Heart. You can accumulate rewards as you purchase things. Any order over $20, which is really good. Because right now, I think you have to spend $150 to get the Stampin' Rewards, right? And so now it's $20 and it's no cost. There's no sign up fee. But the first time that you place an order starting April 15th, it will ask you if you want to opt in to the program. So you have to opt in, but it's free. It's just for privacy reasons, I guess, that you have to opt in. So your first order, it will ask if you want to opt in. Hi, Avi Renee. So Julie, what did you think of the new in colors? Did you like them? What's your fave? Your fave new color? I think I have, wait, I have one card left of these. Yeah, the new catalog is May 6th. Yeah, so this is the punch that I used. I sent here's all the new colors. Let's see. And I forget all of the names of these now. I know this is Darlene Duckling. Gosh, why do I forget these? It's not on here, of course. Well, you at least see what the colors are. This one's cloud something. I like that one. I think this really deep blue one is my favorite. But I like the cloud one. The 70s and 80s had a baby. Yeah, they do kind of look 80s to me. So, okay. Well, thanks for joining in today. I hope you learned something. You got to see these new products. And I hope you learned a new technique. Next week, we are going to be making an Easter layout from the Storybook Life scrapbooking workshop kit. And I'm going to be at my brother's house, so I'm hoping that maybe my nephews can make this. So we'll see. We'll see if each I've got three nephews, and maybe I can get each of them to make one of these layouts. I don't know. We'll see. They may or may not want to participate this year because they're getting older, but we'll see. I might just make one, or I might have them make one. So we're gonna make Easter scrapbook layouts. Oh, and you know what? Maybe I should bring my photo printer and print pictures to put on there right as they're making them. Okay. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you next week. Bye.